On three. 1, 2, 3. Good job. Well done.
We are here today to introduce the first public park recycling program in the history of Jefferson Parish, and for that much in our region, from what I'm being told. Today, 15 outdoor recycling receptacles have been installed throughout Lafreniere to provide the infrastructure for citizens to participate in recycling while enjoying the outdoors. We see this program as a great opportunity to increase awareness and the participation in recycling throughout the parish, whether citizens are taking part here in the park, at work, or at home. Since becoming parish president, we have put major recycling programs in place in all of our parish government office buildings, making sure we go green. Now, I know we say we go green, but I know Barry McGinnis and his staff are going to have a rough time telling everybody to go blue for the recycling containers, so that they make sure they do recycle in the blue containers, which I think is going to go a long way. My appreciation is especially extended to, of course, Ms. Colleen Landry, my appointee to the board, who spearheaded and worked passionately to fund the recycling program. Colleen also serves as the board of patrons of Lafreniere Park, the organization which provided $2,000 in extra funds to purchase 5 additional recycling bins for the park. We will hear from Colleen later in the program. I want to also thank the patrons of Lafreniere Park for working to provide better services, amenities, and beautification efforts in this valuable public space. I would like to thank the parish's Department of Environmental Affairs and the team that manages Lafreniere for effectively engaging and partnering with Keep Jefferson Parish Beautiful to make this program a reality. And talk about recycling, the Director of Environmental Affairs, I've recycled him from the engineering field to come over here and run environmental affairs for us, and he's done a great job. Mike, I thank you for all you've done for Jefferson Parish. Finally, I would like to thank all the sponsors, Dr. Pepper, Snapple Group, and Keep America Beautiful for funding the Park Recycling Bin grant program that gave us the opportunity to get the infrastructure on the ground. Jefferson Parish reestablished its curbside recycling program in 2012 in response to an overwhelming demand from our citizens to make more responsible waste management decisions available to our local residents. We recycle to conserve natural resources, prevent pollution, slow the rate at which we fill our landfill, of which Mike is working very hard on, trying to increase the capacity in our landfill. We recycle as a daily commitment to the promise of delivering a better world to our children. And as a father, I certainly want to have a better world for our children and people's grandchildren. As a parish that accommodates the 2 largest landfills in the region, it is our duty to manage those resources responsibly. For these reasons, it is my duty as parish president to lead our community in an effort to fulfill this obligation to the obligation of future generations. As part of realizing this commitment, the Lafreniere Park Recycling Program is one piece of the larger initiative the parish has founded to provide not only the infrastructure that makes recycling possible, but also the education and awareness of how and what to recycle. And again, we couldn't do this without the partnership we have with the Jefferson Parish Council. And of course, Councilman Benzon moved on some months ago to become mayor of Kenner. And Councilman Jack Rizzuto was appointed by the governor to fill those shoes. And Jack has hit the ground running. He's running so hard. He's got to run from here to another event right after this. So I'm glad we started timely. And Jack gets what Lafreniere is all about. He wants to work with the patrons and all the organizations with Lafreniere Park to make this a better place for his duration as acting councilman for District 4. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Councilman Jack Rizzuto.
Again, thanks everyone for being here. As I want to acknowledge the parish president is here this morning and all the nonprofit groups, governmental organizations that were involved in this. Dr. Pepper again, the Snapple Group, and Keep America Beautiful. District 4 should be proud to know it's ahead of the curve on the recycling participation. Recycling route around Lafreniere Park is constantly ahead of the parish average in recycling participation, which has made Lafreniere Park a great candidate for piloting this program. As of May, average participation in recycling for route has risen over 5% since 2016. Considering these numbers, it is safe to say that recycling in Jefferson Parish is on the rise and that the community surrounding Lafreniere Park is leading this positive trend. Becoming a good recycler is because the area is a leader in recycling participation. It must set an example for other citizens by becoming well educated on what items and materials can be recycled. The issue of contamination will certainly make or break the effectiveness of any recycling program. The Department of Environmental Affairs is available to answer in-depth questions about specific items and materials, but I'd like to briefly emphasize that this park, recycling bins, we would like the citizens to recycle, for instance, plastic bottles, metal cans, and newspapers. We really want to focus on recycling just these three things and keep it simple. Also, to shed light on specific items that most commonly contaminate recycling, we ask that you do not put the following items in recycling bins here in the park or at home: chip bags, candy wrappers, tissues, napkins, or glass. Each recycling container in the park is located next to a garbage can so that citizens can easily separate their disposables from their recyclables to minimize contamination in recycling bins. I ask that our citizens be very respectful to the service we offer. Educate yourselves and your communities about how to make a greater impact on our environment by properly managing our waste. And again, I want to thank everyone for being here. This is a great day again for the crown gem of Jefferson Parish, in my opinion. I'm kind of prejudiced because this is in our district, but this is a great park and a great opportunity for District 4 and for the Lafreniere Park. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Councilman Rizzuto, for the valuable information you just provided. The hard truth is that several reported measurements indicate that Louisiana is in the last place for the nation for landfill diversion, which means our state has the lowest recycling rate in the country. I want to see Jefferson Parish take the lead in changing this troubling fact. So here to speak about the many initiatives our parish has taken to improve our collection recycling rate, I would like to introduce the Director of Jefferson Parish Department of Environmental Affairs, Mr. Mike Lockwood.
Thank you and welcome. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, President Yenny. I remember I was talking to you earlier about this, that one of the first mandates and initiatives that we took on shortly after both you and I took office a year and a half ago was to initiate recycling in the parish governmental buildings in an effort as an indication to the public that if we expect the public to recycle, then we need to do that in our own government buildings and set the example. Thank you, Councilman Rizzuto, for offering leadership and teaching our community how to make the necessary improvements, and all the organizations involved in bringing better recycling to Louisiana. Although Jefferson Parish's recycling participation rate in its municipal efforts is over 50% of our municipal customers. Over 50% of the population of Jefferson Parish participate in some form or fashion in recycling. The bad news is that only 5% of our solid waste is diverted from the landfill through our municipal programs. These include our curbside recycling of waste automated fluids and cooking oil offered at our parish drop sites, household hazardous waste recycled at our twice yearly collection events, and the Christmas trees that are diverted from the landfill yearly through our Christmas tree recycling program, which includes Christmas trees being placed in the marsh and potentially Christmas trees used as mulch and recyclable materials. We are constantly seeking ways to improve this diversion rate through public education and outreach, and discussions with our collection company on how to improve collection of recyclables logistically. Some parish recycling initiatives, as I said earlier, with the support and cooperation of Parish President Yenny, the parish administration, and the council, we have implemented recycling programs at the two largest parish office buildings, the Yenny Building and the GGB, providing recycling bins and collection services within the offices of over 1,000 parish employees. We plan to work to expand this initiative to over 70 other small parish offices and facilities. We've also initiated recycling efforts at our libraries. We have distributed recycling bins to all the small branch libraries in unincorporated Jefferson Parish. In the future, we hope to offer educational outreach events for recycling at these locations. We're very proud of the initiatives that we've established for school recycling. The parish's Department of Environmental Affairs, in partnership with our garbage and recycling hauler, Waste Connections, has reached out and provided recycling infrastructure and education to over 20 schools in the parish, reaching over 12,500 students. In addition, just this week, the Parish Council passed a resolution accepting an $8,500 Healthy Communities grant from Keep Louisiana Beautiful that will be used to establish a recycling program at Bonneville Magnet Academy High School. This money will be used to purchase 120 to 150 recycling bins and will provide for education and student service hours to increase awareness and participation in recycling. If we reach out to the children and the young people and get them to buy into recycling, they bring that message home. They said, "Mom, why are you throwing this away? It ought to go here instead of there." And you know, when they bring that home, it generally that's what happens at home. The message is well received. This initiative alone at Bonneville will add an additional 1,400 students learning about and participating in recycling. The parish has also recently become a leading member of the Louisiana Recycling Coalition, a new organization which supports recycling education and program development throughout the state. So we ask the public to participate in recycling at home. As Councilman Rizzuto said, educate yourselves on what and should be recycled within the programs that we offer, and to get involved in community education efforts. Again, thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Mike, for recounting our efforts and offering the path forward in making the necessary improvements to increasing recycling participation in Jefferson Parish. Now I'd like to introduce Colleen Landry, who embodies the prime example of how Louisiana citizens can get involved and make a difference in our recycling in our community. When I first met Colonel Landry, she was on the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office. I would like to say I was a young man. She'd probably say I was a little kid. But I worked with Henry Trapani doing Mardi Gras, and she worked very actively in the parades and with all the organizations as the parades went forward in Jefferson Parish, and that's where I first got to meet her. And now, being in the military, anyone who wears the eagle of a colonel certainly demands and deserves a lot of respect, as both she does and Mr. Conley's father, who I know was a colonel in the United States Army. And I have a great appreciation for rank and in the military and in the law enforcement today. Colleen has dedicated years of effort for her hard work to keep Jefferson beautiful and the patrons of Lafreniere Park to deliver the recycling infrastructure we are accepting today. On behalf of the citizens committed here for her cause. Ladies and gentlemen, Colleen Landry.
I'm so glad I wasn't the first speaker, that everyone before me said everything I was going to say. First of all, I want to thank the patrons of Lafreniere and introduce them. Would you please stand? Jerry Klein, Ginger Crawford, Bob Emery, and Mr. Bob Everman, who accused me of beating this word recycling to death. I thank you for the matching funds that was put up. Without your money, we could not have done this. And Miss Sarah LaRock, then stand please, Sarah, be recognized. Sarah is the one who did the grant for the matching funds from Keep America Beautiful. Patrons put up the money, and Keep America Beautiful doubled the match, and Sarah was just so enthusiastic about doing it all. And last but not least, Mr. Barry McGinnis, who has put up with me for quite a few years. but he has always been a champ. You know, we discussed this for 2 years, and he finally said that his staff in the park could handle the recycling. We tried it last year at Uncle Sam Jam, and it was a big success. The patrons put up the money last year for the recycling for Uncle Sam Jam, and they have done the same thing for this year because we're not in full swing yet with our program here in the park. This park itself has been recycled. It was once Jefferson Downs, and one Halloween night we saw the big flames in the sky. Jefferson Downs had burned down. The stadium and everything had burned. So for a few years it just sat vacant. The trees grew up, the grounds, the park itself became just a fun place for little boys to come and hide out and explore. And then in the mid-70s, talk began about building a park here. And Peggy Conley and I, Keith Conley's mother, we were at the very first meeting. She proposed a butterfly house, which we still have to do, Keith. We have to work on that. And I proposed a bird sanctuary, and the chickens and the ducks now can thank us all that they're not in someone's stew pot because this is a bird sanctuary. And then along came Katrina, and the park was once again used as a recycle place. All the trees that were picked up from everyone's yards and curb sites, etc., were brought to the meadows and put through grinders and recycled into mulch and all. And it is because of everyone here who has put forth an effort to get this done that we're able to do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Colleen. Just to emphasize again the importance of this occasion, as mentioned by all the speakers, we're the first public park for the recycling program in the history of our parish, an opportunity to spread awareness and participate in recycling in the park, at work, and at home. And to reiterate, remember, as Councilman Rizzuto stressed, plastic bottles, metal cans, newspapers are the only things we ask people to recycle. Any further questions can always go to our Department of Environmental Affairs. They certainly have done an outstanding job to make sure the recycling program and initiative goes out there. Thank you all very much, and we're going to step over for the ribbon cutting. So I'd ask all the patrons, of course Councilman Rizzuto, Steve Lachute from Councilwoman Shang's office, and members of my staff and the environmental team to step over for the ribbon cutting.